ones, I am Cryon of magnetic service. And I say that every time. It means that which is multidimensional. For still misunderstood on this planet is magnetics. Not understood is one term, misunderstood is another. For it is a quantum attribute of your reality. One of the few that spills over into your life on an everyday way. And I am in service in a quantum way to you. Relax for a moment. A message that's never been given in this fashion before is about to be given. I want my partner to go slow. The message is multifaceted, and it's one of power. It's one of history. And there are many things to read into this, even beyond the words that will be spoken this day. I speak to an audience that is larger than that which is in the room. For there are many who are listening now and reading. I know the potential of the eyes on the page, the ears that are here. And although there may be 100 or so of you here, there's thousands who will listen. To me, they are listening now. To me, they are reading now. I call the message this day the end of history. And it's not a message of doom. Take it in a linear fashion, or take it in a quantum fashion. If you take the title in a linear fashion, you might be frightened. It sounds like the end of time. If you take the title in a quantum fashion, we are saying it is the end of historic energy. There's a shift happening on the planet. We're going to come back to that statement in the end. And for me to do this correctly and appropriately, I may offend some because of the history energy that is inbred in some of you who have been taught a certain way. And I ask you to be patient with this, my message, to become unified with me as I give it. For I want to take you back and explain some things to you. To paint a picture, moving around in historic times, I want to go back to Abraham. The father of monotheism, Abraham, is where we like to actually look at the history of what you would say modern spiritual belief. For it is the way the world thinks. Oh, there were many before him. Some of you are Lemurian and you know. But Abraham represents to the earth the beginning of what you would call the major religions on the planet. And I want to give you the history of what happened. And I want you to look at it carefully. I want to honor Abraham, born in Ur, which is now part of modern Iraq. And I want to honor his sons, not all born of Sarah. And the one I wish to speak of is Ishmael. Abraham is Jewish, great Jewish prophet. Ishmael is his son. There's no way that you could say Ishmael was not Jewish, for he is, even to this day. Ishmael was born in Hebron, very Israeli. Ishmael is a Jew. He fell from favor even with the Jewish people early on. And Ishmael became that which is the ancestor of all Arabs, seen as such. And if he was Jewish, so were his ancestors. And so you have the Arabs with Jewish blood, that of Abraham, flowing through them. But early on, they cast him out. And so although you had the one God and the monotheism, and you had the principle of the love of God and the unity of God, there was a split. The truth was mixed with untruth. And even to this day, there would be 1 billion human beings who would say it was Ishmael, not Isaac, who was almost sacrificed at the Temple Mount. And what is the truth there? Maybe it's a metaphor for both. Human beings are not built to unify. In an old energy on the planet of those days and even the days that you were born in, the energy laid upon you to separate, not unify. And that is why they call it the old energy. Oh, there were wise men and women who knew better. But it is the old energy that separates and divides. Let me tell you about Muhammad. Muhammad, the prophet. Muhammad, who is of the lineage of Ishmael, who is of the lineage of Abraham. Muhammad was a Jew. Now that was his lineage, but not necessarily his culture. But remember the lineage. Muhammad had a beautiful, beautiful meeting. More than one. With an angelic presence. The angels talk to humanity. But how many of you have put together that most of the angels that ever talked to a human being talked to Jews? Like Muhammad, like Moses, like Jesus, like Abraham. Well, this was part of the setup of history. Part of what makes the Jewish lineage more important. And we have spoken of before, as go the Jews, go earth. There is something there to look at, and it is going to change. And Muhammad's information from the angel was this: unify the Arabs and give them the God of Israel. And he did. And he did. And the information he had was beautiful, written down after he was gone, about the love of God. Muhammad the prophet was a unifier, not a separatist. And then there was Jesus. Long before Muhammad, Jesus the Jew, responsible for what you would call Christianity today, all of his disciples were Jewish. The rock, Peter, who started the church, was Jewish. And we tell you these things to show you there is a unity here. Perhaps there is a reason, dear ones, why the 12 layers of DNA have Hebrew names. It's an honor of the masters and the lineage, including that of Muhammad, of Ishmael, of Isaac, of Abraham, and of Jesus. All of them. The original spiritual language, you might say, well, there was Sumerian, there was Lemurian. No, we're speaking of a language of today, spoken today, which is of a pure lineage of the masters who walked the planet. And what did they do with it? All of the information from all of these masters, so different was the information, culturally specific was the information, and what did they do? They went to war. Because humans separate things. They don't put them together. And there is the one God, the one creator inside, looking at humanity, going to war with each other over ideology about whose God is best when there's only one. And that's ancient history. And it's thousands of years old. Now it would occur to some to say it is human nature. Therefore, this is what happens with humans. And it will repeat itself over and over. And that is the energy of history. Bathed it is in the soup of human nature, which some say never changes. And it will happen yet again and again and again. And I'm here to tell you, dear ones, that it isn't. Because something is happening on this planet that will end history. It's going to end the energy of history. In this earth today, those who were born in Israel are taught from birth how to dislike and distrust all those around them. At this time in history on this earth, those around them from birth are taught how to hate the Jews. Carefully taught. And in this they are proud, because it is the lineage of their ancestors and they want to follow historic protocol. They want to stay separate. And I want to tell you that that's changing. Oh, it's changing. It's changing in the places you don't expect. It's changing in Jerusalem. It's changing in Iran. And the children are waking up and saying, tell me again why I should hate them. They did what? When? And that wasn't them, that was their ancestors. Tell me again, because I don't feel it. And that's what they're saying. And their parents are shaking their heads. And they're saying, do as we say. And the children are saying, no. I am not going to, and neither are those around me. And it's making a difference on this planet, and it is not being recorded. It is not being reported. Your media has no idea what to do with it, and it doesn't seem to even be news to them. And yet it is one of the greatest energies this planet is seeing. And I'm here to tell you it's real, and it's happening under the hood, you might say. Oh, there are other things I'd like to report to you